right, hello everybody, and welcome to Theorycraft Thursday. I am here with my co-host Proud. Hello, Proud.
Hey everyone, Proud here.
My name.
Here to greet you and talk about what are we talking about today, Sam? Ursi.
Well,
fuck.
I'm surprised you don't know. I'm surprised you don't know. Proud,
I don't know
because
anything.
As always, we are a cat podcast.
Oh, that's good.
I took this cue from the Tuesday show because this is like we're reaching our final form, right? We've finished like if we're like a butterfly in like podcast form, like we've gone through like the gosh, now I wish I knew science terms. The gestation period, and then we went through the metamorphosis period where we became metapod briefly.
Pupus.
We were a Dota podcast. Yep, and the Crystallis. Nope, the proboscis is the nose.
No, it's the mouth.
Well, it's the mouth. It looks like a nose. But yeah, we reached our final form. Okay. SSGSS Fourth Spirit is cat podcast. I've just kind of come to accept that. Yeah. I've accepted my fate.
I went upstairs to get some water. And my cat was like, "Why the fuck aren't we hanging out?" And I was like, "Dude, I gotta record. Why don't you just come downstairs?" And he was like, "Okay." And he comes downstairs, I sit down, he just looks at me and meows and just walks out. I'm like, the fuck is your problem? This is a fine place. Yeah. This is a fine location.
Yeah, I'm just accepting my fate at this point. I feel like I've rebelled enough against it, but there's just like the universe is telling me that I have to become a cat person through virtue of like almost all my friends are cat people.
If there's one thing that comes to mind when I look at you, I'm like, that person has rebelled a lot.
Yeah, no, I get that a lot. It's dangerous. I get pat down by police often. They say, "Man, you look rebellious."
Factory, you just get into so much shit.
We'll tease that story a little more, but yeah, like the universe is just cat centric, and I find that I just got to accept my fate. Like all my friends are cat people. In a sick twist of fate, my favorite K-pop group, their fan name are Cheshires. Because again, like cats are a recurring theme. It's dangerous. So I'll stop being an anti-animal person and become a cat person. So we're a cat podcast. More importantly, we're a cat podcast sponsored by Unicorn. We'll hear more about them and their feline interests. No, equine are horses.
And it's called Unicorn.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
You profound fuck up.
That's true. Before we get into the, I'm sure, hours and hours of cat and horse talk, let's talk about Dota 2, shall we, as a bit of an appetizer.
Yeah, let's do that one.
All right, so, Proud, how has your week in Dota been?
Great. I got my second star.
Me too.
Been winning pretty much all my games.
We're in unison.
We're not talking about you. Been winning pretty much all my games. I had a 10-game Vengeful Spirit win streak. That I did actually end as soon as I was like, oh shit, I have a 10-game win streak. And then I lost the next one. But it was, it's like a fucking one of those impossible games. But yeah, really, really good. I played a safelane game actually for the first time in a while. And it was like really fucking hard. I tried to go the Skrunk Tiny build where you just get like AC Heart. And it didn't work well for me, I'll say. So I'm not going to try that one again. But, we won the game, and it was a crazy-ass game. Like, someone was apparently spectating it, and they messaged me, they're like, what the fuck was that game? It was like, we're defending against the enemy team, trying to, like, end the game, and we're just, like, trying to survive as long as we can until our mega creeps take their base, and it was just, like, one of those games you're like, oh shit, we're about to lose, and then the end screen happens, and then like it looks over your ancient, and then it just keeps panning to the enemy ancient. You're like, oh, thank fucking God.
Yeah,
it was quite a game. But yeah, it's been good. Played some mid, played some OD. I lose every Rubik game that I play. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with Rubik or if it's just like the games. I mean, they're always hard games, but like, I just so happen to lose Rubik games. I don't know.
That seems like a common theme.
Yeah.
I feel like, because I've been talking about Rubik so much, there's been a few people in Discord that are like, oh man, I've been playing so much Rubik. And almost all of them are like, yeah, I'm having a ton of fun and I feel good, but I'm also losing MMR like horribly. So maybe
I need to tell you, okay,
a bad influence.
Like I played this game so fucking well. I had the best initiation of my life. Like I could not do this any better. I didn't even have a blink dagger. Let me tell you what I did. I stole snowballed in, stunned 4 people, lifted up I lifted up the Tusk while I did it, because Tusk was the only one who didn't have like a stun that could come out quickly. And then while I did that, I spell stole from Lena, and then the Tusk fell down, stunned them all for 2 seconds. At the end of that, I light strike arrayed all of them. I was like, how much better could I, like, how much fucking better could I be? I just fucking ravaged a team with 3 different spells, and then I just like walked out. It was amazing. And we lost that game. No, nothing like that team fight. I did all of that, and then my enemy team my team just like started to chase a Razor that BKB'd. And I was like, what the fuck? I just like saved the universe. It would be like at the end of, what's that fucking movie? Independence Day, where like Robin Williams flies up into that shit. And then like while he did that, the entire rest of the team decided to like fight a whale in the bottom of the ocean. It's like, why are you all crashing into the ocean right now? Like, that's not, this movie was not about fighting a whale. Why are you all doing that? And that's the equivalent, I think. I just kind of came up with that one.
That's fair. I think we can all empathize with that situation, especially I know those setup heroes where it's like, oh man, I had the perfect initiation, and yet you guys still managed to mess it up. It wasn't
even like I did it when they weren't ready. It was like I did it, and then they just like decided to fight the Razor instead, like right next to that. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Razor has kind of been the scourge of my pubs. I've also been winning a lot, but I've also just been watching a lot more pubs, which I think is one of the reasons why I'm winning.
Yeah.
And kind of just not necessarily studying, like I'm not really focusing on anything, but I'm just kind of passively watching streams and watching high level pubs more often.
Just kind of like noticing things.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you just kind of pick things up through osmosis if you just watch it. And Razor has been one of those things where I was seeing it in my pubs and in higher level pubs and all that. And I kind of just want it to stop. I think it's good. I don't think it's OP even. I just kind of don't want it. I just don't want it to exist.
Yeah, fuck them.
It's kind of like, it's like Techies, where it's like, even if Techies is good or bad, I don't care if they're going to win me a game or lose me a game. I just kind of don't want them there. But it's like a much more toned down version of that. I just kind of find Razor absolutely mind numbing to watch. His new aura ability is really cool and also like absolutely bizarre.
It's not necessarily an aura.
Well, yeah, you're right. It's not an aura. It's like I don't know how I would describe it other than an aura.
I mean, it's basically like Gyro's Ags thing. It's just like it's just an ability. Is. Like, there's no need to classify it.
Yeah, it's a passive ability,
passive.
I suppose.
That's good.
Yeah, but that's really cool. Like he's able to cut waves. I see it off lane. I see it safe lane. It's to hear that I kind of want to go away. So that's been one of my primary reactions this week. My win streak. I feel like
fuck? You mean mid?
Oh yeah, most of the time, honestly.
Really?
Actually, not most of the time.
I literally have never seen
probably
that.
Half. Oh really? Yeah, I see it in like aggro off lanes that punish
like a try or duo.
Sometimes a duo where like the roamer is like, let's say a Tusk, and he stays top. He does like the Tusk block with ice shards. He gives a really good equilibrium for the Razor, and then Razor is like a free level 2, and then suddenly he's hard to zone. Or I see it as like, oh, the enemy team has 2 roamers or something like really weak in the safe lane, and you punish it with a Razor.
I'm always,
or I see it like it's solo safe lane.
I'm just always wary of like you saying something like that, and then I like examine it a little closer and like, no, that's not what's happening.
I mean, these are just my games. This is not me watching pro games or anything like that and seeing it off lane. But in like Divine 2, I've been seeing the occasional off lane Razor when it's like, let me see if I've had it in any of my recent games I pull up randomly. But it'll be like, oh, the enemy team has like 2 4s and they're both roaming mid, and their enemy Razor is just like 1v1ing a Monkey King and just punches him to death or something like that. Either way, that's been kind of annoying. I've just been playing Rubik. I started losing, so I changed my name, which has been my new superstitious thing. It did not work. I've become Knapsack. I went from No Jams to Knapsack. Knapsack is not a winning name so far. I will say that. So that's been unfortunate. I might need a new name change.
Hey,
other than that, I think I'm getting off the Rubik train. Rubik's like, I've won a couple 100 points with Rubik. I was on like, I want to say like Not a, maybe like an 8-game win streak or something like that. Like a solid win streak. But I feel like I've kind of pushed it to the limit, and I need to branch out. Because there's been too many games where I'm like, man, I wish I was playing somebody else. As much as I love Rubik, he's just not specialized like other heroes are. So I'm gonna move away from just first picking Rubik and move into trying to like hold. Even when I'm playing 5, I might hold my pick as long as I can, and maybe try to get like something more situationally proper, like a Bane or even a Witch Doctor, stuff like that I can excel rather than just do average with. Also, I think I'm never gonna play safelane again. I think that's what I've learned from these last few games.
I saw that Juggernaut game you played.
Well, even like
a little bit about that.
Oh, we talked about that game. We can talk about it just briefly now. I played a Juggernaut versus Sand King offlane, and I played the matchup wrong, and my supports weren't there. And then once my supports showed up, they did the classic thing that Skrunk loves, where like the supports kill the offlaner and then leave, and then it's like, oh, this has not solved the problem at all. Like the offlaner's immediately back. I played it, and Proud pointed out afterwards. And this one was times like I don't have any excuses. Like I knew everything was bad in the moment, and I just was like I've just like lost all my brain cells. What you do in the matchup, right, is that he primes Caustic on multiple creeps. That way, normally he can just like he can kill one, and then it kills the next and kills the next. Then you take like 180 damage at level 1, and it's just not sustainable. But as Jug, what you do is you just spin, and then you don't take the damage from Caustic, and then everything is fine. But I did not do that, and then I was just like miserable. And then the enemy Sand King had like, I don't know, he was super fat. He had like a 12-minute. Let's see, what is his
Blink Dagger?
He had Blink at 14 with Mana Boots and an Arcane, and Mana Boots and a Soul Ring. So
that's pretty rough.
Yeah, and he was like level 95 or whatever. I don't even know. I wasn't paying attention. It was brutal. So. After that, and then like another couple safelane games where like I won, I haven't been feeling good playing safelane, kind of no matter the hero, and I think I just want to stop. Not like I don't even actively try to play safelane. It's just kind of like you end up as safelane sometimes, and I just kind of felt a little weak as a safelaner. So I think that's my resolution.
Yeah. After all my games of playing Venge, like now when I pick core, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm like, well, geez. I really got to do things now, huh? But I don't know. Like the OD game I played, I like stomped. So it's like, whatever, it's fine. And the tiny game was so fucking hard, but I at least attribute most of that to the build not working with the way I play tiny. Anyway, all right. That's life.
Yeah, I think I might start playing Troll as a safelaner again. I played Troll for a while, like, I don't know, 6 months ago or whatever, and I was like, oh man, this hero is so cool. And then I just kind of never touched him, and I think I need to just get away from Juggernaut. Like, I play too much Juggernaut because he's my default safelaner, and the hero, he's lost his luster in my eyes. So maybe I'll move to Terrorblade, maybe I'll move to Luna, maybe I'll move to Troll. I need to do something different on the off chance.
The Terrorblade's still wild.
Oh yeah, he's amazing. Also, I have great cosmetics on him.
I have literally 0.
I have a lot of cosmetics on him. It's a little embarrassing. I might start playing Spectre also. Because people now do those like
don't do that
more fighty Spectre builds where they're like, all right, I have drums and an Aki and treads and a heart, and no, I'm just kidding. They don't do that.
Don't play Spectre.
Do you really think she's that bad?
Don't. Yeah.
Really? Huh.
I don't think there's a reason to pick her.
I don't know.
Like, why would you pick Spectre?
I don't know. I just kind of want to.
There's really just no reason to pick Spectre, honestly. She's not even that good late game because her whole, her 25 talent is the extra 8% dispersion, aka one more thing to just get disabled by Sophie.
Yeah. You're right. I don't know. Like, I've just seen a few Spectres in my games. I'm like, man, this looks like it would be more fun than what I'm doing.
She can still entropy her way into a win, sure, but why would I pick Spectre over Terrorblade ever?
Yeah, I suppose that's fair. And I like Terrorblade a lot. Maybe I'll just play Terrorblade and Troll.
Terrorblade's amazing, honestly. That's anytime that there was a guy that I met this 3 times this week, and each time I was like, we both moused over safelane. I'm a very civilized human, so I was like, you can have it. And then they moused over Terrorblade, and I picked Venge. And it was like, and then we just did that every time. It was like, hey, Venge, it's you. I'm like, yeah, it's me, buddy. And then we just did that. We just won 3 games super easily. So Venge Terrorblade, man, what a combo.
Maybe I'll
So
end up
good.
playing Terrorblade today. Anyway,
Maybe.
we'll see. So that's our weekends in Dota. Let's move on to our segment, which is pretty terribly relevant, I'd say. So we are going to be talking about the strategy between switching, or strategy behind switching out items when you're either like in.
Would you say swapping out?
Yeah, sure, swapping out. That's probably the better term than switching. I mean, you're playing Venge, so I guess that's you're really getting into character.
Right.
But so we're talking about the idea behind switching out items in the either when you're on a core in the super late game, or from a support perspective, even in like the early game when you just have too many little things and you need to make those decisions between what am I going to give up so that I can have, X, Y, or Z item. So, Pred, can you? Because I think it's more. I think it's more impactful in the very late game on these heroes like Terrorblade or like Juggernaut that end up just having like an absurd amount of farm. And it really is a make it or break it. It's 60 minutes. You have 7 slots. If you don't make the right call and switch out the right item, you're just going to be boned. So what's like a? Do you have any general rules for this when you're playing heroes like Jug or whoever else?
When it comes to swapping them out, I guess number one, I need to look at like, okay, it's rather than looking at what you're swapping out, it's kind of better to look at what you're buying, because you can't swap anything out until you have something to swap it with. So if you're already 6 slotted, the next thing you need to buy needs to be an item that can function well, or an item that gives you a new intended function without destroying any of your current like necessary functions. Yeah. Like if I'm playing Sven, I can't get a second Daedalus that replaces my BKB, because I still need a BKB. Yeah. Like that doesn't help. It can help after I use my BKB. Like I pop my BKB and then I swap the items. Like, that can kind of work, but generally it would be more something like if I had S and Y on Sven, maybe I would swap that with an AC, something that does something similar but is like just, more or less straight up better at it. Or if I was Juggernaut and Cleave didn't really matter anymore, it's not like we're fighting any illusion heroes. There's just like an enemy Sven that's a fucking baller and he's never next to things, so Cleave doesn't ever get through his armor. Maybe I'll sell the Battle Fury, or maybe I'll just keep it in my like backpack. That way I can still have it for like clearing waves and stuff if I still need that. And then I'll like get a Mjolnir in there, or I'll just sell it because I have a Mjolnir. So I'll just sell my Battle Fury and get a Mjolnir that'll cut straight through Sven armor or something like that. That's kind of what I look at. And then also Refresher Orb is really fucking good. Never underestimate that one. Refresher Orb is almost always like your 7th item for a lot of heroes.
Yeah, especially, as long as you have the mana to use it, which, you're 25, most heroes do, especially nowadays that people have like a lot of stat items and whatnot, and even just stat talents. Yeah, I think...
typically if you're a hero that has really expensive spells, you're also gonna have mana to compensate for it. So,
yeah, I think my general rule, and the hero I definitely run into this most with is Juggernaut, just because he's a hero where I buy like a couple smaller items. Like, Blink is the big one that I think of, where like Blink is super important, like value wise, but cost wise, it's like 2250. So I run into these situations where I'm like a 7 slotted Jug more often than not. And Jug is maybe the easiest example because you use the Blink to get Omnis off as like a general rule of thumb. All right. The point of Blink is to get that optimized Omni to kill somebody or to get right in the middle of everybody. So you can swap at the Blink during the Omni, and then right when you come out of Omni, that's where you have, like, let's say your boots back in, or you have a butterfly in, or whatever. So in those situations, that's where you're swapping in and out a Blink just for the one usage, similar to your example with Sven, where you buy this BKB, and of course, BKB stats are good for Sven, but in these super late game situations, you're not carrying this item for the stats at all. You could care less about 24 damage and 10 strength or whatever. You care about the usage. So once you've already used it, then you may as well swap it out and then have like anything in, really, so long as it's giving you more.
The best thing I've ever done was I was on Sven and I was in some fight and I like it was like a Roche fight and I blink in, I hit or like blink in, stun, double hit with the Echo Saber, take it out, pick up the Aegis, pop Mask of Madness, swap the Echo Saber back in, and since items take 6 seconds to go back up, I basically just waited the duration of the cooldown went double, so it was still like 10 seconds. But anyway, yeah, so like I got the double hit with the Echo, used the Mask of Madness, had the Aegis, and swapped the Echo back in. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so fucking good at this game. It's unreal.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's a very
swapping items
satisfying
can be
thing. It's
fucking
also
awesome.
like one of those things where if you mess it up, you're like, man, that would have been cool, but I just like butterfingers it.
Yeah.
One of the other, I would say, like a lot of games don't go that late, to be honest. As fun as it is to be like 7 slotted, the more realistic application of this concept that I run into, especially as a primarily support player, is swapping items and kind of changing priorities depending on game state in the early and mid game, and even in the late game too, because you still have to carry dust and obs and smokes potentially. Or I should say dust and obs, and then occasionally also dust. I don't know. Ignore that sentence. But the priorities that I generally have, I just load into a game. And so, for instance, at Rubik, let's say you have like a pretty basic kit of like, I don't know, let's say this would probably be like a 15 minutes of farm. If you're having a decent game, you'll have something like mana boots and a wand and a casual windlace, and then a set of obs and sentries, let's say, or whatever combination of obs that you have to have in your inventory, a TP scroll, and then let's say an urn, because you're playing 4 and your 5 doesn't build urn. Or if you don't have an urn, then it might be something like the first part of a glimmer cape or what have you. But then in your backpack, like assuming this is a game where they have invis, in your backpack you're going to have dust, and then you're also going to have smoke. The kind of mental math one has to do is saying, all right, TP I might not need in this fight, therefore I can swap the TP out and put my dust in, or vice versa. I'm going to need my TP because I'm split pushing with my teammates, and I'm pushing with my teammates and we're getting split pushed by so and so. So a lot of it is kind of the situational awareness of saying, what am I going to need most? What am I going to need most quickly? Yeah, sure. That's the English language words always. Most immediately, that's the word. And then what can I afford to swap out? And this gets a lot more complicated, obviously, the more items you get, because your cores are consolidating items, but in general, and they're also selling smaller items. But on supports, you have a lot of smaller items that you kind of end up just keeping. Like you'll have mana boots, but then you disassemble them, and then you still have a boot slot, but then you also need a slot for your Aether Lens. So that's where it gets a bit more complicated, and in general, my thought process is I like my casual windlace, but odds are it's not going to make the difference, and I may as well get rid of it unless I'm going to be building something that uses a windlace later. That's one of the things that I more frequently get rid of. And then a lot of times I will just backpack my wards until we're in a situation where I know I'm going to be placing them like 5 seconds from now. Then I'll swap them in for my TP, let's say, or my wand, and then, do it that way.
Yeah, I swap my TP out a lot if I'm with my team, right? Because if I'm with my team, I'm not going to TP anywhere. Fuck, like I'm already where I need to TP to. So I try to swap the TP as much as possible, unless it's cooling down, in which case I don't. But yeah, in general, as a support, it's like the windlace. I'll move around, or the wand. Like if I'm just walking somewhere, I'll swap the wand out.
Especially if you don't have any charges. It's like I don't know. Really.
And often, if you get jumped as a support,
the problem I run into. So like, I don't know. Let's see. Let me pull up a recent Rubik game. In a Rubik game, let's say it's like 35 minutes, and I'll have something like a glimmer cape and an Aether Lens, and then a blink dagger, and then a wand and a TP, and then wards again. Let's say. And that's where it gets a bit more complicated, where it's like, all right, I can't swap out my boots because I need that bit of move speed. I can't swap out my Aether Lens. And then you just swap out the wand. So yeah, it really is, just to summarize, when you're on a support, you're thinking about it in what am I going to need most immediately? And then when you're on a core, you're thinking, what can I get away with losing? Or what can I get away with swapping out in those super late game situations? So
Right. There's also I also try to look at any hero that, I mean, this goes back to kind of carries, but any hero that can manage to just throw their boots away and be fine. Like on Monkey King, I will always like my, once I'm at 6 slots, I'm gonna take my treads out and put something else in, and then I just move by using Tree Dance. Like Tree Dance is pretty much as good as just walking around, except for like dismounting is kind of hard, but that's what you use the Primal Spring for. And also it's like, you can't just Tree Dance literally anywhere, so it's kind of a little bit difficult. But like at that point, you have enough agi that you can move around reasonably fast. And, you can use your butterfly if you really need to move fast, and you can just fucking Tree Dance around, so you don't need boots. That's one of the reasons I think Monkey King is pretty good late games.
Yeah, Shadow Fiend is another one I think of. Basically any butterfly hero, like you pointed out, is just like, all right, or anybody with a movement speed talent that you actually choose, namely Shadow Fiend.
Yeah. Yeah, most agi heroes.
And
like
she slows
Phantom
people with
Assassin,
daggers.
also she has a good amount of agi, and she uses Phantom Strike to get around. Like you can just have your boots. Yeah, it's like, Phantom Assassin isn't necessarily a completely move speed dependent hero. She's gonna still have 350 move speed, with her boots gone, so it's fine. Yeah, I mean, there's a number of heroes like this. Like once you're fighting on Terrorblade, like just take your boots off, and your Hurricane Pike is the only time you're gonna move anyways. You're fine. But yeah, it's mostly agi heroes that you can afford to just kind of drop your boots on. I can't really think of any strength hero like that. Oh, there's Lycan, because his ulti has nothing to do with your move speed. But beyond that,
Timbersaw is probably a good example. Yeah, I mean I would say the larger aspect of this is just to keep it in mind, because I feel like a lot of people, myself included, on times are like, you just get locked up and you're like, all right, I need to have, I don't know, like let's say it's super late game and you're like, man, I really need an MKB because they just had a surprise butterfly come out on so-and-so, and then they also have, X, Y, and Z, whatever other evasion. Then it's like, all right, I already have 5 slots. Like, what the heck do I do? And some people will just cave and be like, all right, I guess I just can't fit an MKB in. The more important thing is just think like, all right, you absolutely need to fit an MKB in. You may not absolutely need boots. So swap those in and out and try to be a bit more creative with your super late game itemization rather than getting stuck. I know, like, I've played with a few people that, like, if you're playing Alchemist, you're like, all right, I guess I'm just going to give away Ags now. It's like, no, don't give away Ags. Just put your boots in your backpack and buy, like, a Scotty or something. Like, get another fighting item, please.
Yeah. The other thing that people run into a lot is that point on an agi hero where you have, like, 5 slots, and then your other slot is a Aquila or a wand. And like, which one do I give up? Pretty much always the wand.
Especially scaling wise.
Unless you really need the HP regen, because HP regen is amazing. So if you have no other sort, that's what I mean.
Well, I mean, wands are nice just in general, but they are even better in those late game situations because of this scaling aspect. Okay, good. I'm glad we got that down.
Specifically talking about the HP regen. So, and the Bassi is similar, or the Aquila, which has a Bassi in it, is good for the same reason. Mana regen also scales like that. So, I mean, if you need the mana regen, if you need the HP regen, you need the wand. But, if you're juggling with a Battle Fury, like, you think about, one of the things I said earlier was you think about what item gives you a function that the next item that you're getting doesn't. If I take away my wand, the only real function is, like minor HP regen after a fight is occurring. Like, doesn't really impact whether or not I kill someone in my Omni Slash or get a good opportunity to Omni Slash or whatever. But the Aquila gives me a 2 armor aura, so unless I'm swapping that with an AC, my push is just gonna be weaker and my team is gonna have less mana and have less armor. So the Aquila's
and also
better utility.
I guess this kind of ties in, but don't be afraid to sell drums. I feel like people get too attached to their drums, myself included.
Yeah. Anytime an item is like more than 1,000 gold, people are like, I don't know if I should sell it. Like, at what point do I sell my drums? Like, I don't know. 40 minutes? Like, you got it at 8. Don't be a hoarder. You're fine. You can. All right.
So, for our heroes, you're going to be playing Venge, and I'm going to be picking based on the game. And we're going to talk about Venge for quite a bit, and then I'll talk about whatever hero I chose after the game. So, kick it off, Proud.
Right. All right, first thing you need to know about Venge is you need to respect her. If you look at kind of a lot of the not even the lore, but like the meta lore that people just kind of have in their heads for these heroes, people always pair Venge with Skywrath. But if you actually look into it, Venge doesn't even fucking know his name. He's just some shitty nerd and who like fucking just thinks she's hella cool. And she never asked for this shit. She's like that Jensen guy. She's just trying to get revenge. And there's just this fucking nerd looking at her from the sky from the sky. And he's like, from Stony Heights, I love you. And she's like, who the fuck are you? Go away. So anyway, stop pairing Venge with Sky, dude.
Agreed.
She's just trying to live her life, and he's a fucking weirdo. Anyway, Venge is great. She is a hero that I've been playing a shit ton. She is, I feel like she's like everything that I want in a pub support. Cause, okay, one, she has a reliable disable that does damage, so she's able to like instigate ganks and kills and that sort of thing. She can turn a fight entirely on her own with one good nether swap. Like nether swap is just everything. And nether swap can do anything you want it to. It can kill someone, it can save someone. That's really all you could possibly want in Dota. Those are the two things. So it can do those. Vengeance Aura. Hey, does your carry fucking suck? Guess what? Now they're 30% better. And now they're fine. It just fixes bad carries. And you know what? You get a couple good kills because you're Venge and you swap someone out of position and then they die. Bam, you're a pushing hero now. You're going to just push it out. Did your carry fucking die for no reason? Well, guess what? Vengeance Aura is going to help them get that kill they were diving for anyways, because they're going to make an illusion of themselves and they're going to finish that kill off. And the Wave of Terror is like scouting. It gets you Roche. You can CS from afar with it. And it's scouting, which I said, but it's very important that it's that. And then she's also pretty tanky. Like she's got, let's see, Dota 2. What does this hero do? About 2.9 strength gain. Sam, are you fucking kidding me? That's like Dragon Knight.
And she builds
She's Dragon Knight. What the fuck? And 3.3 agi gain? What?
Oh, you can get like treads.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that one. But yeah, I get treads on her actually fairly often.
Well, yeah, I mean,
days.
Everybody buys treads.
But beyond that, like, it's not like you're getting a fucking.
People are like, no, I can't use the card to get phase. I'm just gonna buy treads on Lifesteal or treads on PA or treads on whoever. Mm-hmm. I'm just seeing way too much treads.
What?
I've seen in a couple random games here and there.
Is there really a Lifestealer that's going?
I've definitely seen. I was watching Miracle's stream and they had a PA that went treads.
Yeah, the PA treads because you go Battle Fury that early and you farm with it. And
treads troll. I lost that yesterday.
Than the phase are, but I don't. I'm just gonna hold you off on. Yeah, I mean, some of these agi heroes can get treads because they have way more move speed. It's just people adjusting.
I mean, it's a thing I've seen. That's all I'm saying.
I'm
not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's a thing.
All right. Well, it sounds like.
I'm looking it up while you speak.
On a podcast. Anyway, never do that. Or maybe feel free. I mean, if I'm wrong, go for it. But for now, I'm like, don't mention things because someone's gonna be like, "Oh, I'll try that." I said Ursi talking about that. Like, no, don't do that to someone. Yes. So Venge is amazing. She's not a good 5. I really don't, or rather, she's not a good 4. I think I've lost almost every game that someone has picked another 5 when I was Venge. It just doesn't work out. You play a fairly self-sacrificial role with your swap. You really don't get a lot from more farm. There are a lot of very important items that I'm going to go into on this hero, but I feel like you can kind of get them without really needing to like be farming, and you can't like farm waves or whatever. And you're not like, it's not like you put a bunch of money into your Venge and it does something drastically different further down the line. Like you put a lot of money into your Tusk,
yeah,
and then they can snowball in and get their spells off and not die, and have a blink dagger to do all that shit. But Venge doesn't need a blink dagger. She doesn't need a ton of farm to not die from her swap in. She just needs a Force Staff or a Glimmer Cape, and beyond that, like nothing. No other item is going to change that. Yeah, that's I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about Venge. She's really good at zoning too. You can just get that Wave of Terror, and yeah, I normally get Magic Missile level 1 and I just, like auto attack twice, stun, auto attack twice, and they normally run away. It's like 100 damage nuke. It's pretty expensive, but whatever, buy clarities. Yeah, that's kind of your primer on Venge. I mean, you want to interact with me a little bit here?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to, I looked up the lifesteal thing. I saw 3 people at 7K plus that were building treads. So statistically probably insignificant number, but a not zero amount of people building treads. I mean, I don't really play Venge, but I did pick her the other day because somebody else picked Rubik. That's why I picked it, and it felt pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised. Her zoning damage kind of sucks, but like you said, she has a pretty high damage nuke at level 1, and then also her animation is super good. Like, she's just a very fast clicker compared to some supports that are a bit slower. So it kind of compensates for the fact that she has 46 base damage. Actually, she has like 42 or something, 44.
The fact that she's an agi hero also kind of helps a lot, because when I have treads on her, by level 15, I've got like 400 move speed when I've got them on agi, and it's like, that's really nice for a support. That's like really fucking good. And she has like only 43 damage, but 4 armor is like respectable. I love one I'm talking about. Her attack speed isn't too bad. And then she has the nuke. But I mean, as you get a couple levels, like each level you get, she gains a little bit over 3 damage. Like, that's
it adds up real quick.
Good.
And then, I mean, it's nice to have swap because it is, like you said, it's basically everything you want. It's initiation, it's counter initiation, it's a save, it's an aggressive ability. It has just a lot of outplay potential also, which I think is one of the nice things about any 5-position support is that if you are going to be playing a lot of them, you want to have some degree of high skill cap. And that's why people are drawn to these heroes like Rubik. Yeah. And Venge kind of has a reputation as a hero that just dies. But in reality, she is actually like a totally, like, she's a big outplay style hero. Because there's a vast difference between a really good swap and then a bad swap, to put it simply.
Yeah. What makes a good swap is, I normally don't die in really any of my swaps unless they're really fucking good. A really good swap is going to like make it so the enemy has absolutely no ability to defend the hero that you just swapped, and their only option is to trade you for them. So if I swap, if I swap a Medusa in, and I stun her, then swap her or something, and she just like gets killed, the enemy team is not going to be able to do anything besides kill me, and then my illusion's on the high ground, and we still have vision. But if let's say I swap a Brewmaster, and it looks like the Brewmaster is going to survive our burst, they're going to rush in to help the Brewmaster. If their cores stop and just decide to fight me, the Vengeful Spirit, on high ground, their Brew is going to die. So pretty much most of the time, I swap someone, and then they have to react to save the person I just swapped, and then I'm sitting from behind, and I can, reduce armor on their supports and just fucking chunk at them. It's such a fucking good skill. I love it. And if it is a swap where you just die, hopefully the enemy core that you just swapped dies also, and then you're way ahead. And also you'll have vision. Like, if you do that trade, because of your Vengeance illusion, you will have vision on them for 6 seconds. They will not have vision on you. Easy counter initiation, or I guess secondary initiation.
Yeah, no, it's super handy. So one of the big reasons that you like this hero that you talked about is her ability to vary up items, which is another reason why I like heroes like Rubik. Yeah. So what are your staple items, and then what are the various permutations of those items? Like, what are the various combinations?
So a lot of it is either dependent upon, most of it is dependent on what boots I'm going to go. Like, if I don't have anyone that is going to build mana boots on this team, and we don't have a coddle or whatever, like if it looks like mana is going to be intensive at all for the team, I'm gonna get mana boots. Especially because my spells are also pretty. They're not very expensive, but I want to throw out 2 magic missiles, a swap, and 2 wave of terrors in a fight, and that's a pretty good amount. If I'm also using wave of terror around to farm and scout and all that shit. So it's good to have the extra mana pool. And if I do that, I'll pretty much kind of go anything out of that. Most likely mana boots into Aether Lens, because by the time you get the money for Aether Lens, your team is fine. They don't really need it. And Aether Lens is just the best fucking item ever on swap.
No, just period. Aether Lens is just the best item ever. I'm in love with the item.
Yeah, it's extremely good. I mean, it also, increases your Wave of Terror range, which is nice for extra scouting, but like the magic missile range, the fact that I don't need to like die to get my magic missile off is insane. Just how far you can swap someone. Like you can swap someone more than a screen away. Do you know how insane that is?
It's a lot.
It's crazy. Like if someone can be hitting creeps on high ground and have a war, or like, they can be at their tier 3 hitting creeps at their racks, and I can be like behind trees, like somewhere else, and I can just swap them, and they're like, what the fuck? Where did that shit come from? And they'll never know. They just have no fucking idea. Well, they will know because they'll be in that position. But it's so fucking good. And you can, like, there's so many times on Venge where when I'm trying to, like, someone's dying and I'm trying to save them, and I TP somewhere and I'm running to them, and then I just swap them from, like, the other screen away. The enemy has no fucking idea where that person I just saved went. And, I'll gliver and cape myself right as I do that and then walk, some other direction. It's like, either they chase the person I just swapped and try to find where they were, or they follow this invisible Venge to kill her.
Yeah, and even if they know, it's coming, it is still like a really hard thing to react to. Like if you're defending high ground and you see like, oh, Venge is going to swap one of us, you might know that that's coming, but at the same time, you don't know exactly when, and you don't know who's going to get swapped necessarily. So reacting to that in the first place can be very difficult.
Right, it's very hard to prepare for. Yeah, and it's not like Winter Wyvern's Arctic Curse, where like you need to Arctic Curse whoever is not the right-clicking carry and someone who's squishy enough to get, like, it's pretty obvious who Wyvern is trying to get killed with her ability. And, like, Lena's probably going to just try to, like, one-shot your carry, so you need to BKB ahead of time. You have no fucking idea what Venge is going to do. Anyone that I swap is dead. Anyone. It doesn't fucking matter. You're all vulnerable. Nowhere is safe. I'm vengeful as fuck. There's nothing you can do.
I'm down for it.
And even if they get BKB and Lincolns, I can get Magic Missile Pierce's spell immunity at 25, and I break your Lincolns with break your BKB Lincolns with my Q and then swap you. It's so good. If you have the Aether Lens, you can actually get the Magic Missile off to break Lincolns when you're not 25, because you're never going to be 25. She's just really good. Her talents are sick too. I mean, I'll talk more about items in a bit, but level 10, either -1 Wave of Terror armor, which is kind of normally what you get. But if the enemy team has, hella magic damage, you can get the magic resist. That's cool too. And then at 15, you get a -6 second Wave of Terror cooldown. That's like a level 20 talent. Having a 4-second cooldown on my 100 damage or 100 pure damage nuke, Pierce's spell immunity, gives flying vision and reduces armor by 7.
Yeah, I chose that in my...
Holy fuck, dude.
Yeah.
And the vision lasts for 3 seconds. 75% or 75 uptime on having fucking... You have the Aether Lens. Dude, what's this range? It doesn't even say the range.
It's like 1800 range.
So you wouldn't even believe it.
But, yeah, I picked that in my game, honestly, accidentally. I didn't even mean to. And I have never felt stronger. I was just tossing them out constantly. It actually gave me some mana problems. But it was awesome.
Yeah, that's where the Aether Lens comes in.
I was just man, nobody ever has armor in this game. I'm just tossing these things out constantly. You can cancel clarities too with that. Like dude. I roamed mid, and I think there was a Zeus in the mini team, and I was just like, nope, no clarity anymore. Bam, gone, and it felt so good. Oh yeah, salves too.
Yeah, or salves like I ganked, and then someone got away, and they like salve up and clarity. I'm like, ha, and then they just like, okay, that's 150 value that just got lost because Venge yelled at me.
Yeah,
it's good.
What? Yeah.
Okay, so other item builds. So the main items that you're working with are Aether Lens, like I said, Force Staff, Glimmer Cape, and Spirit Vessel. And then honorable mention for Medallion Solar Crest, but that's honestly a little bit far down my list. Because that item doesn't really do anything for Venge, honestly. Like, you already reduce people's armor. What are you doing? Why do you need that? You already can swap people out. You're a really hard 5, so you're not going to get your item until, like I'll get my first item. Let's see, when do I get my first items here? I'm going to say probably about 17 to 18 minutes is when I would finish up like a fucking medallion, because I'm just such a goddamn hard 5. Let's see, let's take this random game scoreboard. Where's my graphs? That's what we need. Graphs, player items. When do I finish an Aether Lens? 26 minutes is when I finished my Aether Lens. I got Tranquils and Aether Lens that game, and a wand. That was it. We won this game, of course, also. But yeah, like you're gonna get a fucking medallion at like, you know, even if you get it at 17, 18 minutes, like what is that gonna do for you? What is giving someone, it's 7 armor, right? Did they change it to 6?
I'll look it up. I actually built it in my most recent game, and I can definitely echo the sentiment that it really did not feel like it did anything.
7, yeah.
I don't remember exactly when I got it, but
yeah, like
it felt not good. I got it because the enemy team had LD, and we wanted to just kill the LD bear. So I was like, I was great at, by the way, because I was just like, hey, minus armor, bam, you're dead. And yeah, it's 7 armor, yeah. Yeah, I got the medallion to kill the bear faster, but we killed the bear already, so it didn't matter.
That's not too bad, but it's not like you are giving the entire, like you are trading having an avenue of giving yourself an entirely new function for having a second wave of terror. Like, what the fuck? That's not worth it. That's not, a medallion is, and it's not like, of course, medallion is relatively cheap. You're going to turn it into Solar Crest, which is not cheap. But it's like, it's opportunity cost. Like it's not like a core where that's not even the correct term here. You're going to end up being very, very inefficient with it. You're not going to be able to take advantage of the fact that medallion is cheap and get another item. That's just not going to happen. You're going to get one item and it's going to drastically change your game. Like the second I get Force Staff on Venge, it is a new game of Dota 2. The second I get Medallion, it is absolutely not. So if I get Medallion and then try to get a Force Staff afterwards, the game is probably going to be relatively decided compared to where it would have been if I just had a Force Staff, 10 minutes earlier. And Glimmer Cape especially, God, Glimmer Cape is so fucking good on Venge. There's all these you kind of just have 2 saves at that point. You can use your Glimmer Cape to save someone from the magic damage, and then use your swap to save whoever's taking physical damage. Or use it on yourself when you swap someone to keep yourself alive. There's just a lot of value on the Glimmer Cape. Or there's Aether. Like, what the fuck is a medallion gonna do when you swap yourself with someone else? Like, you're not gonna be able to medallion them most likely, because you probably aren't. You wouldn't be close enough to swap them. But like, if you swap them into 4, they're gonna die. There's no point. Like, you already used your Howl or Wave of Terror to get vision of them. Like, if you just, another -7 armor, like, what the how does that help? Like, it doesn't. You need to actually get your skills off in a, useful fashion. Your skills are good enough. You don't need an extra fucking Howl. Anyway, yeah, Medallion's not that great. I only get it if I'm also getting treads, and it looks like I'm going to be able to farm well, because Medallion is like my farming item. Same thing with Doom. Most of the time, I do end up getting Medallion or Solar Crest on Doom. It's when I'm, doing some decent farming. But yeah, so there's those. Typically I get the Force Staff fairly often when I have Mana Boots also, because it doesn't really make a lot of sense to get it with Tranquils. Like, you already have a bunch of moves with Tranquils. You don't really take advantage of the health regen on the Force Staff. You don't have any mana regen, so it just kind of gives you a slightly bigger pool. So you're still, sinking money into Clarities. It's just, not super fantastic. But with Tranquils, I do very often go I guess it's more with with Treads, I'll often go the Spirit Vessel. I only get Treads when I'm farming pretty well, and I'm going to have a relatively decent game. And if I'm having a decent game, I'm also getting Earn Charges. And if I'm getting Earn Charges, I've also got enough mana or enough money, most likely, to get into a Spirit Vessel. And if I'm getting a lot of charges, that means we're fighting a lot, which means my team needs healing. If we have another healer on the team, I probably won't get it. But it's just everything about Spirit Vessel makes sense in the way that each item kind of feeds into the next. And also, I'm going to buy a Windlace either way, and it feeds into the Spirit Vessel, so why not? And it gives mana regen, so it works off you having your treads. But yeah, with Tranquils is more often just I have brown boots, and I have enough money for Tranquils if I want to. But mostly it's just I have brown boots, and and I want more move speed. I never really go into a game saying I hope I get Tranquils this game. That just doesn't factor into it. I have no inclination to have Tranquil boots. It's very often most of the time I have Tranquil boots is when I want mana boots. I'll have mana boots, turn it into Aether Lens, and then I've got brown boots and a Windlace. Why would I not just turn them into Tranquil boots? It just saves the slot, and it's only 350 50 or whatever fucking gold it is now. 300. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's like just a throwaway, like, hey, I want this. I do it a lot of times just to consolidate my win list. Yeah. Like on Rubik, I buy my Aether Lens and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to build Trez, I'm not going to build Phase, I'm not going to have BOT for a long time, so I may as well just have Tranquils.
Yeah, like I queued up a Boots of Travel on my Venge when I had like, Aether Lens, brown boots, and like a Glimmer, and I was like, the fuck am I doing? I'll just get Tranquils. Like if I have extra gold, I'm gonna get a 4-staff. Like get out of what am I doing? And it's 90 fucking move speed when you're not getting attacked, which you an Agi hero. You have 3.3 Agi gain. That's amazing. Get move speed. It's so good.
All right. So anything else before we pop into our game?
We should play the game and then we'll get a clearer sense of my main girl's beauty.
Okay, all right. So, as much as I did not say there's anything else before, we have one brief thing about that. We have an ad for Unicorn. And today we're going to be chatting about how ESL1 Katowice is happening.
Polish. It's not Italian.
Italian's the only accent I can do, so you're out of luck.
Let me make sure I pronounced that right. You keep talking.
I appreciate it. So that's happening soon. Didn't they get in trouble for like their groups, their pre-group stages, like, or no? Didn't they get in trouble for like their group stages being super stacked in like? I'm looking at the groups right now. Maybe I'm thinking about a different tournament. Regardless, what are we talking about? There's an OG versus Vici. It's game 1 of the group stage.
Katowice or something like that. I don't know.
I'm gonna stick with mine. Katowice. That's happening. It's definitely not Katowice, which is how I would say it as an American. So regardless, it's in Poland, so figure it out.
Katowice sounds like what it is. Anyway.
So OG versus Vici is one of the games from the first day of the group stages. The odds are the odds are in favor of OG by like a decent margin, but like a fighting margin. So I remember like a month ago or whatever when we did one of these.
You need to define that because it can be a 10-point split and it can look like a fighting margin. That's a 10-point split.
It is a
just read what it says.
62% OG, 38% Vici.
Okay, that's very much in OG's favor. That's not even at all.
But it's like it's not without. It's like it's one of those bets. Somebody just dropped something in my house. It's one of those bets where like if you want to play the odds, you can make bank on Vici.
Yeah, because it's a pretty one-sided bet.
Yeah, but like they have a fighting chance. I think of like the one super one-sided is like anything like 80-20 or whatever, where it's like, all right, there's just no way nameless South American team is going to beat EG or whatever.
Right.
But this is like one of those bets where it's like, all right, it's a new tournament, it's the beginning of the tournament, these teams haven't faced each other in a while.
From a material value perspective, anything where it's like close to you double what you get or you only win half of what you put in, that to me is fairly one-sided.
Okay, that's fair.
But anyway, that's OG's going to win that game straight up. Like, it's in.
Really? You don't have any hope?
Yeah, no, it's in Poland. That's one of the first games, right?
Yeah, it's Fiji's
like going to be jet lagged. I'm pretty sure that they're not going to get in very early. I feel like I've heard
that's true.
That they often don't get in that early. Like most Chinese teams, it takes them like a long time, and booking is weird. I think Poland is EU, I think, is just fine for, like, most VG players should have fine passport things. I don't know if that would factor into it at all. But anyway, one of the things when I was doing this more was I would always look into, like, when is this team arriving? What is, like, how jet lagged are they going to be? Where is the tournament?
Man.
Yeah. I mean,
so much metagame.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. But yeah, like, typically it's not that great to bet on, teams that aren't from that region on the first day. That's like, EG does kind of like not that great pretty often on a first day for most tournaments that are like in Europe because they had to travel much longer than everyone else. It's like not super uncommon.
Yeah, that's a good point. I see. Like, I was not thinking about the whole metagame of like arrivals and whatnot. I was thinking more just like, man, I think they have a chance, and I'm like, man, I could double up.
Vici just did very well, that was LGD did very well, but Vici I haven't really seen for a little while, and they were just seen at like Captain's Draft where they did very good. But I don't know. I'm definitely feeling OG. Like they just seem like they're gonna have their shit together. If it's just like a European tournament and they haven't played anything in a while, seems good.
Yeah. Is there any team that you'd particularly be looking out for then? Just in general in this tournament?
I feel like I'd say OG just because they haven't kind of played up to snuff in a while, and they're definitely hungrier. I always felt like Resolution was a kind of like, he did really well at TI, but that's like, and everyone just got super hype on him. But like, and yeah, he's really good. When he was playing, when he was on Empire, like 3 years ago, he was without a doubt the best mid in CIS, and in Eternal Envy's opinion, he was the best mid in the world. But like I feel like he's kind of like a Koifa case where they were incredibly good for a certain period of time, but that period wasn't quite nabbed, like wasn't quite capitalized on. And that like burst of like pure success is not really gonna be like easily replicated and come back. Like when you see someone reach their peak, they're not often like the next great pickup. Like it's hard to get that to happen twice. And that's how I feel like with Resolution is like everyone just got a huge fucking boner when he, played well with Empire, and then everyone tried to pick him up and he got on OG, and they, they're good. It's just, it's not like, holy shit, OG unstoppable.
All right. Okay, so we are going to hop into our game, then we will be back momentarily. So, I think we're solidly on the OG front. If you're looking to bet on Unicorn, UNIKRN, you can do so.
I don't actually know who's going to win this tournament.
So check it out.
Probably Virtus Pro, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe we'll find out.
EG all the way every time.
All right. So, you can find the VODs for this game, by the way, on youtube.com/Fourth Spirit Dota. That's our new channel. Officially, we'll talk more about it in like the closing notes. But Fourth Spirit Dota, FOURTH Spirit Dota. That's where you can find the VODs. If you have been missing those in the last few days, that's why. Or last few weeks, that's why. Because they're there. Fourth Spirit Dota, not the old YouTube channel. So yeah.
Okay, here we go. Theorycraft Thursday, round 1. The stage of fate is set. Ready? Fight!
Jesus, all right.
Fuck, man. Fuck.
Oh, boy. All right. Hello, everybody. We're back. We have just completed not one, but 2 games. I'm proud playing Venge support in both, and then in one of them, I played OD, and then the other one, I played Terrorblade. Proud, how would you describe these 2 games in a unit? 'Cause they're very similar.
I played well. You had a rough grasp of the heroes you were playing at the very least.
They were not my best games. I think we can both agree with that one. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say these are my best games.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't think so either.
I've come to the conclusion that Knapsack is a losing name.
That's definitely the name, I think, is the main issue here.
You just like, it's like I don't know a reference to this, but it's superstitious. It's it needs some change. Yeah, my OD game, I made some decisions that were like impulsive decisions, but you should never make impulsive decisions with a skill build. I think that's a safe
well, you
should.
Safe bet. It's just that you shouldn't view every decision as compatible with impulse, or maybe you just shouldn't have bad impulses.
I guess so. It was like, all right, so in the OD game, I picked up a 4th point in aura because I was low mana once, and I was like, man, I really wish I wasn't low mana.
And what's an alternative to spending an entire skill point? Buying a clarity.
Or, well, no, the funny thing is I was thinking about it afterwards, and I was like, man, if I had just skilled Q, I would have been able to use Q to get mana, so it would not have mattered at all.
Yeah, because it costs only 100 mana at the first point, as opposed to the, like, 180 of your W.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a mess. The Terrorblade game was fine though.
It was. This is one of those things where I'm sure that if I looked at it, and there would be enough for me to get upset about.
Oh yeah. I'm sure if you looked at it, it would not be good. But like, it was in the broad strokes, like
the time when I
right.
said you need to rotate because we're gonna die. Oh wait, did that turn out okay, or did you die there?
That turned out fine.
Yeah, we actually won that fight, so that was actually okay. I think I definitely was like, okay, I told you.
Well, there are two times you said that, and one of the times you were right and we died, but we did get a trade, and then the other time we just won a fight. So
yeah, okay. The
right.
first time I was like, we need to get out of this general location, and
then we died.
No. The first time we traded, and then the next time I was like, okay, we need to stop farming there, and then you just immediately got ganked as soon as I said that. That was when the Leshrac came at first, as opposed to like followed up. The first time I had like wards in the area, and we had 3 people there, so it was okay. But like the second time was, let's see, that was the time when we lost the tower. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I don't remember this, so I'll just take it on the nose. But yeah,
I mean, I'm watching. I'm
less important in this.
This is when I was alone with you.
I'm just confused because like I know what you're talking about. I just don't remember which one of the ones. This is not good podcast material. Because people can't see this. But let's talk about the Venge games and how you played Venge in like the different situations, because that's the focus.
Right. So I think. Yeah, this is okay. I go in just to try to make sure you live, and I die for it.
Yes, I remember that.
Anyway, so I guess, as I said, Venge can kind of do everything you want a 5 to do in a very kind of pure form. She can zone well with her 2 skills and her, decent stats. She has a save. She has a kind of pseudo initiation, and she has something that like buffs your carries up to ensure that she like helps you win the late game and can push off of any advantage. So I basically utilize that to just play a very rote and planned out way to support, that I can pretty much execute without a hitch, no matter what. And you just play like at a very simple rhythm that you can practice and pull it off every game, and it goes well. And that was kind of disrupted in these games because, the first game, we had 3 supports, and some of them weren't actually supports, but they were supports. And the second game, we had a Legend 1 Lion, who we can know what my opinions about Lion, and then we can also compound it.
He's a little out of his depth.
Yeah.
I think,
like,
not to disparage any and all Legend 1 players or anything, but when you're in a game with like all divine players, you should probably listen to other people instead of just doing whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he had 2 branches and no clarities with a starting gold, and he was like, "I have mana drain." Like, oh, you cute little boy, did you think I just wasn't aware of your lion skills? I know you have that. It's not what you need. Anyway, so it was kind of difficult for me to like do all the things a 5 needs to do, because the things that a 5 needs to do involve optimal things because a 4 can do the other things, or your other cores can compensate for what you're not doing. But either way, it's kind of like what I did. So that those objectives are, first, you give whoever needs wards. In general, I often don't give my safe laner, or I don't put a ward in the safe lane unless I'm like, unless it's like 2 of us zoning someone, because if we have 2 people that are just kind of like ready to port mid at any given time, mid doesn't really need a ward. But if they have an offlaner that's like kind of hard to zone, it's good to just kind of have one, especially if you can just see like when they're trying to sneak back into the lane and go into trees. It's nice to have the ward there. But if not, like I'm more interested in me zoning the offlaner with my body and protecting my mid with the wards. So sometimes you dole your wards out however you see, and you just spend the first minute or so just zoning. That's all you do. Loop around from behind, make sure you don't fuck up the creep aggro, and then pretty much always I'll pull at like a minute 15 because someone will fuck up the creep equilibrium anyways.
Someone being me.
I mean, it's fine. It's like that's why I have the ability to pull. Then you do that, and then you like stack, get the enemy 2-minute rune, get your 2-minute rune. Do the zoning thing for another 2 minutes, and at 4 minutes, your courier's already flying. There's basically 2 wards to buy at that point. You only really need 1, and it turns night. So not only are the runes spawning, which encourages their supports to move around, but it just became night, so it's way easier to gank. So at 4 minutes, either I'm ganking their mid, or they're ganking our mid, or I'm just giving my mid a ward. Pretty much, I just give my mid a ward at 4 minutes because I'm not going to fucking gank mid. I'm a Venge. So literally every fucking game, after the courier's flying, my mid's going to take it because they're, oh shit, flying courier, great. And then I load wards up because I'll have gold for that by the time, it's 4 minutes. And I'll probably have boots and like a ward. And then I will throw a ward mid at the exact, basically the same place on either faction, just a line between right between the Roche pit and your tier 1 tower, just on that little outcrop, and it can see the top rune and the enemy high ground. Put my ward there every fucking game. I'm sure that, once I keep getting higher, it'll be very easy to deward, but whatever. It's the best ward spot in the game. It can see the rune spawn, and it can see a place that people pretty often gank for. Yes. And after that, I, go back, zone, have my TPs up, and then at 6 minutes, I get another ward, and the safelane rune, or the safelane ward, if there was one, is probably going to expire soon because it's, been close to 7 minutes since I placed it, since the start of the game. And if I'm worried about their supports, like TPing and killing us, I will ward the enemy offlane rune spire. But I'll make sure I do that at like 7 minutes, not, at 6 or, at 5:45 or something, not when someone is going for that rune. Because the last thing you want is for someone to see you do that. Or, you go up there at 6 minutes, and if no one is around you, then you can, go place it real quick. Because then it's not like, oh, why did their support go up there? Obviously it was to get a rune. You can kind of make it a little different sometimes. Like you can go and get the rune and then just like walk up to the enemy jungle and then on your way back ward. And that's a little bit sneakier. But it's really important if you're going to ward the enemy offlane spire, you need to make it look like you're doing something that is not expressly that. Because it's very obvious when someone just walks up there at 7 minutes, that's what you're doing. So, do it. I mean, you can even smoke to do it. It's just like a great ward to have. But if you don't really have any way to do it stealthily, or their offlaner is just chilling in the lane, you can just place it where you normally would a safe lane rune. On both lanes, the way I do my rune is there's little like the crop of trees that's just like at the end of like the safe lane area. There's just like a little circle of them in between the hard camp and the safe lane, kind of like the sides of it. So I just kind of like walk to the end of that where I'm still out of vision. Like I'm protected by the trees giving me line of sight, and then I just like place a ward kind of right in front of it. That way, or a little bit far in front of it, kind of like where the flag is on the Radiant side safe lane. There's a little flag at the end of the lane. You can kind of put it there, and on Dire a little bit ahead of the little like light post with the torch and the mushrooms. But if you do that, it can see basically into the hard camp and the entirety of like your lane, and then also everything going up to the enemy offlane tower. So you can catch TPs for the most part. And you can see if someone's going to fuck with your hard camp and all that shit. It's just the best ward ever. So I do that at, either that's Shrine or get that ward at 6 minutes. And then I just chill safe lane because at 6 minutes is like somewhere between 6 and 8 minutes is when your safe lane is going to die. Once it turns daytime, it's a little bit safer. And you just kind of like do whatever you need to do to get farm and be where you need to be. And then once it gets past 12 minutes, that's when you yell at your carry to like, we should stop being safe lane. Because believe it or not, the way a game of Dota 2 goes, and this is pretty much every game, I've said this often for about 2 years now, is that once you get to 8 minutes, every minute that passes, your safe lane is less and less your territory. This has been a little bit pulled back now, but like it was like when CDEC got second place at TI5, they started this thing of, okay, at 8 minutes, we're going to rotate our entire fucking team, and we're going to wipe your safe lane and then take your tier 1 tower. That's just how Dota's played now. You may do it a little bit later than CDEC did because they were fucking insane, and you may do it at 12 minutes, but that's just what's going to happen. Your offlane's going to get their ulti, your safe laner's going to get your ulti, and you can't just like, oh, now we're going to go aggro and beat the shit out of their offlane. You've already done that. Their offlane's already fucking lost. So you just rotate everyone and you wipe the fuck out of their safe lane. So you can either do that as Venge, which is ideal, or your carry can just kind of be there anyways, and then you just have to yell at them to get the fuck out. But basically, that's like what you do. And if you do have to be there, just like be throwing out your wave of terrors to scout when they're going there the entire time. Like last decent Venge game I played, I want to say it was about 13 minutes, and I was so sure that they were just like gonna kill us. And so I just like sat we were dire, and I kind of sat inside of the trees that are next to the tower, like in between the hard camp and the safe lane tower. Like if you drew a line between those, just sat in those trees, and I just like kept sending out wave of terrors, and like I caught a. Like a Pudge and a Shadow Shaman with a Wave of Terror. And I was like, all right, can we leave? This is not safe. There are more heroes there, I am certain. And then, then they got out. So, like, sometimes you just have to show them physically that this is not a safe place. And then after that, you just kind of take the game as it comes. But that opening, 12, 14 minutes or so is like, that's how you play every fucking game. And if you can get that down, you are going to win the first 14 minutes of every game you play, unless you have a Legend 1 Lion on your team in a game of full Divines.
Yeah, that certainly will not help your chances of
winning. No, it will
it
not.
Turns out. Yeah, it definitely, the Venge feels nice, and also like having played Venge the other day, it is a hero that I think it's safe to say pretty underpicked at the moment compared to her strength.
Yeah.
A lot of times when we think of fives recently, it's like, all right, we see Rubiks, we see Shadow Shamans, we see Jakiros, we see some Banes occasionally. But Venge isn't really up there for me when I think of like, who's like the top few fives, but she really is quite strong.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing about that game was that there was no opportunity to use swap. Like, I couldn't swap someone.
We're just getting run at.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't swap like, someone out or in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, it's like swap as an aggressive tool is best when like you have the ability to burst somebody. But the problem, like in the second game, the enemy team had like an IO. Their cores were a Tiny and a Lesh, who were both very tanky.
And a fucking Tide.
And it was not like
I can't blink.
And a Tide
I can't like
to counter initiate.
Blink, or I can't swap in their Tide and then we kill him. He just pops out and kills and ravages.
Exactly.
It's bad.
So it was rough. It's similar to like a bad Batrider game, basically, right? Like a bad Batrider game is like a game where like, if I blink in and lasso somebody, it just doesn't matter because like we can't burst them and or they have great counter initiation.
You can't team fight on bat from behind. And even, I mean, we were just, like Wisp is definitely kind of an issue because even if I found someone, I mean, we just had no damage and we were very far behind. It doesn't go a lot further than that. It's not an Echo Slam that like takes a negative net worth lead and still wins a team fight. It's like you can't be super behind and have swap be very useful.
Yep. Sure. Yeah. I don't have too much more. Like, I mean, I just my games were not interesting from my perspective. I played Terrorblade, and it was a Terrorblade game where we were behind and I couldn't like farm safely and split push safely and all that because like. If I did like farm aggressively, then I just get relocated on. Yeah. And then the OD game, we were also just playing from behind, and OD is like a theoretical counter to CK.
OD is absolutely not a counter to CK. People say it is, but only because on the tooltip of Arcane Orb it says this does extra damage to illusions. Do you know how long it takes a fucking OD to tear through 5 CK illusions?
But the point is not that you're carrying through 5 CK illusions individually. It's that I would say this is one of these counters that is a counter if you are like at an even pace with the CK or are ahead of him. Like you can really oppressively play against a CK if you are like in this game. Obviously, this was a wash. But let's say we were like pushing down and we were like setting the tempo rather than playing to their tempo. CK would have a much harder time because he's already a hero that plays poorly from behind. If he was playing poorly from behind and then also he ulted and his early ult that spawned like 2 illusions, I could just kill both of them and then we just like secure map control with tier 2s and whatnot. I think that is a legitimate concern for a CK. That being said, he was super ahead, so like you said,
I don't know. Like it's like saying. Because like CK is one of the few carries that actually fights early, so I mean I feel like saying CK is not that great if you're like are ahead of them is like saying Ursa's not good from behind, so like obviously Ursa's not going to be behind. That's just not going to happen. Like CK
and OD is going to fare very well against a CK at a comparable spike, even if the OD is not necessarily ahead of the CK.
If the OD is unable to astral themselves for a second, Chaos Knight will press W and the CK is just and the OD is just dead. Like
I mean you have to play around that, of course. Like you still have to have the CK counters like AoE stuns and whatnot. But if you have the ability to AoE stun the CKs, you can just jam on them.
What about CK is special for OD to kill different than any other hero?
OD is able to counter if he initiates on somebody. He can astral his teammate. If so, our safe lane core is a Sven.
Not true. Your teammate is dead immediately if CK initiates. Like you can't, and it's this huge mass of fucking units. You're not like no.
You can also ult the illusions and they die.
Yeah, but you need time to build up int for that to actually like work. And CK is just instant boom to intensity.
I guess so.
I'm just saying, I've played this matchup
mid
a
counter
lot.
then.
CK
so
mid counter.
I've won a bunch of OD games against CK.
Quap is like decent, I guess. I mean, not there's
Quap
like
just dies instantly.
She builds Lincolns, so you don't get you don't get as soon as your Lincoln pops, you just get away.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, but you also like if your Lincolns is popped, then you're just boned. I mean, someone like OD builds Lincolns.
I mean, there's very few heroes that OD doesn't build Lincolns. What the fuck?
OD builds Lincolns. It's one of his most bought items.
Okay, so you go Hurricane Pike, Blink, BKB, and then Lincolns.
Yeah,
that's not early enough.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, I don't. Given your scenario, I don't see.
I'm not saying Quap is a good CK
to OD
counter
against CK.
Tinker, obviously.
I mean, Tinker, sure. Tinker's good against everybody.
OD's not bad.
OD's not bad. You're right.
Or not OD. Shadow Fiend.
Shadow Fiend, dude. Shadow Fiend just gets popped.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of heroes just get popped. At least he, he's got Yules or something. I don't like. There's not a lot of heroes that are good against. There's not a lot of mid heroes that are good against CK. CK's counters are supports or offlaners with AoE stuns.
Another honorable mention is OD can blink out of Reality Rift and blink out of the stun because both are super dodgeable with blink. If you're
if you can avoid this, if you can avoid the stun or whatever by like astraling yourself or whatever, then like it's okay. But I'm just saying OD doesn't have any unique ways to kill Chaos Knight. Like the idea when you say OD is good against Chaos Knight normally is because you see that the orb does extra damage to illusions. But like I'm saying that does not factor into it.
I think it has. I mean, I agree that's not like a game changer due to playstyle, but it is like a nice tool to have against CK compared to a lot of heroes that do not have any nice tools against CK. I think this game is a very very poor example. But
of course. I'm just saying that I've never seen an OD as a CK and been like, uh-oh.
See, I've played OD against CK and just like the guy never has illusions and it's just totally fine. Like, yeah. But regardless, I don't remember how we started
against illusions.
You kill them instantly, dude. It's so good.
Oh, not he has another 400 damage, but that's like the illusions have about like between 3,000 and 4,000 health.
No, it's 400%.
No, it's 400 damage.
Oh, it's an additional 400 damage.
Yeah,
400% would be kind of wild. But
you
also kill him with your ult.
Yeah. The ult is the only like real viable thing to say about it. But your ult also isn't like great until you build up your int.
Yeah, I mean that's just OD isn't great until you build up his int.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if you compare that to like, if a Quap is able to blink in after whatever initiation, and she like E's and then R's and then all of his illusions are like super low. Like that's a little bit more preferable in my opinion. But again, like it's people with AOE stuns that are countering the CK, not not your mids.
But
maybe Dragon Knight. That's about all I can think of.
Dragon Knight. Who plays that hero?
Yeah.
At least he'll make all the illusions do like whatever it is, 40% less
TA?
damage. No, TA sucks against CK.
You just have all of them invalidate one refraction.
Yeah,
but like that. Hey, that's one round of CK hits you're not taking.
Yep. I guess theoretically you can blink out after you take that one round.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna get stunned though.
He also has a bunch of armor and she sucks at everything. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's, like the reason why CK is very good is there's not a lot of counters that actually do the thing that you want them to do.
Yeah. All right. So anything else to chat about?
About Venge?
Just in general.
Talk about my items a little bit, I guess.
So what'd you do in each of these games?
So, yeah, I mean, I'll kind of talk through my process. I'm trying to remember I'm looking at the game now. So the first game, I didn't do anything. I had treads and I was trying to get a Glimmer Cape because we were against a Tinker, and originally I was like, I want Aether Lens against this Tinker That way I don't have to be standing in March of the Machines and getting rocketed to do anything. But then I quickly learned that even if I wasn't standing in those, my team sure as shit was. So I needed a Glimmer either way just to prevent my Sven from going from 100 to 0 inside of March of the Machines before hitting anything. That was really the only thought process there. I was, also wanted the Aether so that I could Howl of Terror, and then, no matter how far in Tinker is in the trees, I can still swap him. But again, it doesn't matter if my Sven is dying while swimming in the March of the Machines. Next game, I got a Spirit Vessel because I didn't need to go Mana Boots because Lion was fine. You were a Terrorblade. Earthshaker was okay, and Storm seemed a little bit not super okay. And also I was playing a very hard 5. And I felt like So I was okay, I'm going to get this. And we also had absolutely no healing on our team. That was kind of one of the main reasons. And I wanted you to be able to swap me to get all your health back, and then I'd be able to still do shit. Or not, health swap me, and then I would be able to get my health back. Anyway, I wanted to go earn this game. And also they had a Wisp, and Spirit Vessel is very nice against Wisp. They had a Leshrac. Leshrac gets Octarine Core. Also, Spirit Vessel is pretty good to deal with that. And that worked pretty well. It was good. And after that, I went for a Glimmer Cape because I heard in one team fight you were like, I can't do shit to this Leshrac. So I was like, all right, reduce their magic damage. I mean, they had a Tiny, a Lesh, an Ogre, and a Tide. Obviously, reducing magic damage is pretty good there. But yeah, and if you looked at any of these games, obviously, a medallion would have had no impact on anything on either of these games. Can you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Cool. Yeah, and I used to really like Force Staff like every game on Venge, but the more I play her, the more I feel like the Aether Lens and the Glimmer are really like your kind of by far your best tools. I'm really struggling to hit a game recently where I'm like, oh, I have Force Staff, definitely Force Staff this game. Unless I'm against like an Ursa or a Clockwork or something. Outside of that, it's like Glimmer and Aether are extremely good. And the Spirit Vessel, I feel like I'm not getting a lot out of my Spirit Vessels in all honesty, but I'm still kind of playing with it. There was one game where we were winning and I had the Spirit Vessel and it felt very good. Because I was like canceling blinks and stopping people from using there was like someone who was trying to like salve in the middle of a fight, and I just put that on. I'm just like, no more healing. Yeah, I'm kind of not entirely sure on the Spirit Vessel, so maybe like your mileage may vary, but the Glimmer and Aether I really do feel like are the ways to go. And with Aether, of course, you go Mana Boots into Aether, and then with Glimmer, you can go Treads into Glimmer or Tranquils into Glimmer or Mana Boots into Glimmer. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you want to do, you know, follow, chase your bliss, whatever.
Yeah, I've had some issues with Spirit Vessel as well, where like I like the item and I like having it, but oftentimes it's like, all right, I have an urn, which is a cheap item, but am I really going to spend my next 1,700 gold on improving this cheap item?
Yeah, and then if you don't, it's
I could just have a Glimmer or something.
You have an urn and it's nice, but it's like, what if I had my Glimmer finished already and I didn't have this urn? Exactly. It's kind of split either way. But I mean, if I'm not going to have Mana Boots, I want something for a bit of mana regen. So, like the urn, just, I'm going to buy a raindrop anyways. I save it at 1 charge, and then I, spend another like 400 gold, and bam, I have an urn. But
it carries over charges.
Yeah. Well, I know. Did I say it doesn't?
I mean, you said you get your urn at 1 charge, and I was like, I don't know.
Oh no, so you get your urn at your raindrops having 1 charge.
Oh yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, you can watch the
VOD can I get an oral history of that kill on Tide that I planned?
That kill on Tide that you planned. Oh, okay. So, all right. So, I'm in lane, right? I'm farming.
Yeah.
And I just got met up maybe like 10 seconds ago. Proud is in the outcrop of trees above the secret shop in Radiant Safelane.
Set the stage.
And Proud, the Tidehunter cosmetics very lackluster, very minor. He has the spikes on his back, but nothing else. No Tide mask, very disappointing. Did not look anything like my Tide.
Right.
So my Terrorblade looking great. Proud's Venge looks pretty good also.
Pretty fresh.
Anyway, Tidehunter has maybe boots and like I don't know a ring of protection. I don't know his items. I don't care.
Who knows?
He Anchor smashes the wave when I don't have meta.
No. Oh wait, when you don't have meta, what?
Yeah, no, this is a very elaborate stage dressing.
Okay.
I don't have meta yet at that point. Proud's still in that outcrop of trees. He then walks forward. I also have 17 charges on my wand, just for fun fact, because wand is really good against Tide.
Nice.
Not relevant to this. So that creep wave dies. He moves into the next creep wave, which is probably, I would say, like adjacent to the secret shop. If you think about it, like that
if you drew a line across where the horizontally where the secret shop is, he was about there.
Yeah, from like the large camp to the secret shop.
Yeah.
So he's there. He runs up, he anchor smashes, and I dodge it. Proud had said, like, if you dodge anchor smash, then we're going to go for a kill. So I dodge anchor smash, and then immediately I use reflection, and then
my exact words were, I want to go for this kill, dodge his next anchor smash. And then you're like, I dodged it, and then we fucking went for the best kill ever.
Yeah. And so I get like 3 hits with 3 hits of meta off, and then you stun, and then we finish him off. He like very barely does not TP out. The big issue with like killing people as a 2-person duo in the early game, especially tanky offlaners like Tide, is just the virtue of like, hey, we only have 1 stun, so if we use it, they're gonna TP immediately, and we like narrowly got it. It was to the point where like maybe he TP'd to a place where there was a hero, and that's why he didn't get out. Like, it was really close.
It was extremely close. Anyway, and
Proud creep blocked. It was good.
I body blocked the Tide, and that's when he decided to TP. It was a great kill, and it made me feel very good.
It was like the highlight of 2 miserable games that took place.
It was really the only thing that went well in our entire 2 games of Dota 2, but it went very well. And that we were able to do that because, you have a lot of physical damage, and I had 1 point in my W, and that took his armor off enough that you're like, because if you were Luna and you had to use, like a lot of your damage was in your Q, like that wouldn't have fucking happened. Maybe it would have because you give me damage too. Anyway, if you were a Gyro, that wouldn't have happened.
Yes. Although I would have had a lot of magic damage. I don't know. Who knows? All right. So you can watch the VOD from that Terrorblade game, and you can watch that amazing kill on our YouTube channel, the new YouTube channel, youtube.com/4thspiritdota. It's FOURTH Spirit Dota. So that's where everything will get uploaded. This is the last podcast that will be uploaded to the old YouTube. So if you listen to the podcast via YouTube, you are not going to find them anymore if you're only on the old YouTube. So the old YouTubes will still exist and like have our backlog and still have like all the random stuff. But for here on out, everything that is YouTube based, including the YouTube versions of podcasts, will be out on 4th Spirit Dota, not on the old YouTube channel. So, other than that, Twitter, I am at Ursinity, Proud is at Proud Dota. Our show is at 4th Spirit. You can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/4th Spirit. You can find the Discord, which is always the bomb. There's also a special Discord channel for patrons, which is pretty poppin' these days. That is discord.gg/4th, FOURTH, as always. Our sponsor today, of course, was Unicorn. Thank them for their support. Other than that, you can send us questions for Teach Me Tuesday to show@4thspirit.com. I think that's about it. And
we got something in the works.
We do have something in the works. I don't even know what Proud's referring to.
No, you don't, but we do.
I'm excited for it, just as everybody should be. So,
Mr. Me and the guy who cannot be named, we got something in the works.
Oh, joy. All right. So, if you listen to the show, you can thank he who should not be named, because he does everything that we cannot or are not able to do.
That's kind of the same set of actions, set of words.
That's right. I'm reinforcing the concept. Okay. So it's been our theory, and if it didn't pan out, well, just blame your Legend 1 lion in a game full of divines.
You're fucking lion.
Just blame lion. Period.
I think that's that guy. He's bad.